President Trump will have a major event tonight, a rally, if you will. I guess in celebrating the economy, we're going to find out more about that.
So tonight, President Trump will be speaking at a rally for someone who's running for the House of Representatives in the midterm in Pennsylvania, obviously a state that President Trump won. But that is more of a purple state. It is a swing state as we traditionally think of it. And with a congressional race in a year where affordability has really risen to the top of concerns of Americans. And
Yes, it should be.
What they are saying the president will do tonight is kind of shift the messaging where he has been just blaming the previous administration and just saying, like, I'm doing things. He is really going to tackle this saying, I am working on affordability for the American people. We'll see what that language ends up looking like and if he stays on script. I think that's another big problem. The president likes to tout his economic chops, likes to be the one that's the businessman that can fix the economy. However, what we've seen pop up in all of these special elections or the mayoral race, the off year in New York, as well as in Virginia, what has been at the top of the mind of voters is affordability. The economy itself on paper looks to be doing well. The GDP is growing. The job numbers are very good. But are people feeling it? Are they feeling a good economy? That's a different story. That's why some of these insurgent candidates have made such ground.
Just yesterday, President Trump was saying we're bringing prices way down. You can call it affordability or anything you want. The Democrats caused this affordability problem, and we're the ones that are fixing it. We actually have the bite. You can hear from President Trump himself. So you can kind of understand his tone of where he's coming from because, again, I think this plays. I think giving it a year is totally fine. And then we get past a year, especially when you only have 3 more years as president of the United States, then we know there will be a new president in charge. You want to start seeing some real big adjustments happening soon. Let's go here. Bite one. Here's President Trump.
We inherited a mess. Affordability, but you can call it affordability or anything you want, but the Democrats caused the affordability problem, and we're the ones that are fixing it. And they have a tendency to just say this election's based on affordability, and nobody questions them, John. You know, nobody says, "Oh, well, what do you mean by that?" But they just say the word. They never say anything else because they caused the problem, but we're fixing the problem.
I saw actually a pretty interesting interview with the governor of Kentucky, who said, he's Democrat in a very red state typically, saying, the reason I feel like I resonate with people is because I don't use certain words. I don't use food crisis. I say people are hungry. Kind of like he said with affordability. Doesn't use that. He talks about people being broke. There is something about that too. In the way that you frame this from a psychological point of view, when you're talking about it, it's honestly sometimes better to, instead of saying a housing crisis, than to say people are homeless.
Right.
People are starving on the streets. That is something we can all get behind and understand. And it becomes this less blurry version of what affordability, as he said, is. What is when the economy is doing well in terms of the stock market, but people don't seem to be doing as well, or the prices are going down on certain things, but they're going up on others. How do we start talking about this and having constructive conversations?
And then when you start to look at the Republican Party as itself, not just President Trump, but conservatives, people who have conservative economic policy. Right now, it used to be that the Republican Party was the party that was trusted with economic issues. They were more conservative. They weren't about spending money everywhere and causing inflation. But what we're seeing now, Logan, is an issue where there are many different ideologies on how to help the economy within the party. The party itself has not come together with a consistent message to help American people in this affordability issue and crisis that is happening across the country. And they need to fix that if they want to be able to deliver.
Yeah, look, we have calls coming in who kind of share both of those points of view. And I think let's take one. Let's go to Michael in Florida. Look, there's always people with different points of view. Michael, go ahead.
When it comes to the promises that Trump made with specifically the economy, the unfortunate thing is everyone has a different idea of what soon is and how it's going to take effect in doing things.
Right, Michael. I think what's interesting is you are right that there is, look, I think even within the Republican Party, even within the president and maybe the American people, there are different versions of what a thriving economy looks like. Let's actually hear bite 2. This is from a conversation with Politico President Trump had, because here's how he's describing how he feels the economy is right now.
But I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home. And I wonder what grade you would give
A+.
your economy. A+.
Yeah, A++++++.
Well, it's interesting.
A+++++, and that's from the president saying, look, from my point of view, things are thriving.
And both things can be true at the same time.
Right.
On paper, the GDP, the jobs numbers, the top line things that the president looks at are very good. They have actually gotten much better from the Biden administration. But that doesn't mean that the American people feel that immediately.
Yeah, they haven't felt it.
Nor does it mean that the right policies in some areas are in place to ensure that they will feel that. And so that's why I think it's important in the messaging, if the president can get out there and say how, not just what the economy's good, but how every American will start feeling that. That's the key to assuring people, to alleviating fears, and also helping conservative ideology going forward.